Hey, it's your girl Tiara Nay, and like the name of this video says, I'm going to be going through different metaphysical books that I read or have read or am still reading for self-development. Okay, so I'm not going to go through each and every one. I did put a couple of them up here. Honestly, this was going to be my prop for my camera, but it was way too high, so I figured I'd just put some of the books up here. Okay, so hopefully y'all can see those titles, but I'll name at least the titles. I may not give a breakdown of every single book, but I'll definitely at least go through some of the titles if you can't see them that well. All right, so I'm gonna make a separate video about what even got me on the metaphysical journey. That's going to be the road to Reverend. Now, the road to Reverend is a mini series I decided to come up with, and I'll break that down in the next video. But the first book is going to be The Miracle Power of Your Mind, the Joseph Murphy Treasury. That's this book right here. And it's about 920 pages. So I ran into this book one day in Barnes and Noble. I was living in Atlanta, or the Atlanta area. I believe I was in Dunwoody at the time, and was kind of just looking for a new read, and this one stuck out to me. I enjoyed Joseph Murphy as an author. He's probably one of the first metaphysicians that I started reading on, and this book is incredible. He has a plethora of books, and this book is really just a conglomeration of, I don't know, maybe about 5 or 6 of his books. This is a really good one. This one, actually, no, I think the next one I'm going to present along with this one is 2 of the first books that really got me understanding the power of your mind and how it really works. So this is a good one, or any of the books here. Actually, it has the name of the books here that are included in this one book. So that's The Power of Your Subconscious Mind, Believe in Yourself, Fear Not, and Riches Are Your Right. Okay, the next one, The Science of Mind by Ernest Holmes, A Philosophy, a Faith, and a Way of Life. Now, Ernest Holmes, at least in my opinion, especially just starting out in metaphysics, he's a little bit harder to read. He started writing around, I believe, like the 1930s, somewhere around that ballpark. So his way of writing was definitely much more of a, I guess, like an old English kind of style. But this one, I think, was the one that actually broke it down for me and really had me understanding more about how my reality was really up to me. Literally, what you think is what you are and what your life is. So if you think that you have the worst life ever, if you think you have the best life ever, that's really up to you from the workings of your mind. I just want to show that he also added a couple of graphs to like really help you put it into perspective. And a lot of this stuff I'm still learning too. I'm still very, very new on this journey. I think when I say I'm into metaphysics and stuff, people think that I know a whole lot, and it's definitely a learning process. It's a lot because the metaphysical world is very, very, very much paradox. It's a lot. So these are 2 of them, and they're actually titled Metaphysical Charts. So the top is supposed to represent your conscious mind. So your conscious mind is what you're aware of and what you know. But here's one example of how he would break down what the conscious mind would be. Some of the words would be spirit, absolute, only all, knowing no other, Father, Mother, God. So think about that. Spirit, when we think of spirit, we think of at the top, right? At the top. When you look even at a chart, say like of your mind, you'll see that the conscious mind will be at the top. You may be familiar with like the iceberg concept, where what you can see is like the conscious, and then underneath is the unconscious, because you can't see it. You can't even really understand or fathom it. So those are just a few of the words here that he would put. A couple of other ones: omniscience, omnipotent, omnipresence, You probably have heard of those, which means everywhere and all. Omni is in all directions, right? So what do they say about God? They say God is all. God is everything. God is at the top. God is here. God is there, right? Your spirit at the top. All right. So in the middle would be, let me see. I want to say this would be your subconscious. This might be at the bottom because you have a subconscious and you have an unconscious as well. So let me see if I could find where he breaks that down a little bit more. Yep, right here. So this would be another one. So another one would be at the top, universal conscious mind or spirit. Again, at the top. In the middle, universal subjectivity. Subjectivity is your subconscious. So your subconscious is subject to what you feed it. So that would be considered subjective. This is turning into a whole metaphysical lesson. I didn't think I was gonna go here, but hey, I'm just going where spirit lead me, okay? And underneath that is the unconscious. So again, that iceberg concept. This would be underneath the water. It's unconscious. You're not even aware of it or how deep it really goes because it's underneath, it's hidden. And as you can see here in this graph, you can see almost like an arrow going from the top to the bottom. So that's like your knowing going from the top and being grounded into the bottom, which is almost kind of like a concept of like the tree of knowledge, which is also a tree of knowledge in Kabbalah or Jewish mysticism. You may understand the tree of knowledge that was mentioned in the Bible in Genesis. It is a similar concept to that. The serpent went from the top of the tree to the bottom. It went to the ground. In the Jewish Kabbalah, this will be the spirit, and in the bottom would be the ground, earthly, material realm. Okay, so going back to the other here, the other graph. So let's go back here to the subject mind, which is the subconscious. Some words that go along with that is soul. You got spirit and you got soul. Soul, creative medium, subconscious mind. It says it right here. Subconscious mind. The feminine, neutral, plastic, Maya, karmic laws, and so forth. So those are going to be related to the subconscious mind. So with feminine, for example, the feminine is a passive aspect. Okay, she receives and she goes with the flow. So that will be your subconscious. Whatever you feed your subconscious, it has to go with it. It doesn't have a sense of discrimination. So that's why it's very important to really be conscious of what you're thinking about and what you're accepting into your conscious mind, because once it goes into the subject, it has to follow through. So now we are at the bottom. We're at the unconscious. The unconscious is the body, effect, the form, objective conditions, the result, time, space, and things. So body, I want to go with body for a little bit. So here, for us to be able to navigate this physical realm, we are in a body, right? Which is a form. Did I say form? Yes, which is a form. So you see again how just like in this graph, you see it's going from here to here. So with that being said, it's giving you an idea of the direction of things. What's at the top must come down to the bottom, as above, so below. So what you are feeding your conscious mind, which comes into your subjective mind, which is then a form of your body, that brings it back to how important it is to be conscious of what you are feeding it. Because now it turns into a form, into a body. It is now a thing. All right, this one up here, universal spirit at the top. The descent of spirit. That will be this going from the top to bottom. Universal subjectivity and particularization. Okay. So that was kind of a little mini lesson. I wasn't expecting to go there, but you know, this is an idea of some of the things I'll be talking about on my channel. So, you know, I want to be very clear that this is not necessarily a religious channel. It's most definitely not a Christian channel, but a lot of those concepts will be included because from all of those is really metaphysical, ideas. Okay, so I'm gonna move on to the next book here, and I have a couple of markers in here too. The kind of markers, there's a couple of charts I want to go over in here as well. The nature of the human soul, cultivating wholeness and community in a fragmented world. This one, I want to say I ordered this one on, yeah, I did. I ordered this on Thrift Books. Thrift Books has a lot of good books for low, especially older books such as this. So I definitely highly recommend it. You may have to wait a little while for the book. They used to get to you a lot quicker than what they do now, but now you do have to wait a little bit. But for certain books, especially if you're into metaphysical books that were written years and years and years ago, you could definitely get them from the low between like before taxes and you know, your shipping fees is going to be between like $3 to $7 for a lot of them. Now a lot of newer books you're going to pay a lot more, but I probably paid maybe between $7 to $10 for this one. So I really love this book. I have not read the whole thing, but what I've read so far put things into perspective as far as being in tune with nature. So you probably hear a lot of people talking about, oh, in tune with nature, connect with nature, da, 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 da. You have to understand that you are nature. So you have to be able to understand nature and understand yourself, understand that you are nature. And when you understand nature, you understand yourself because you are it. Okay? So a couple of things that I marked in here is a couple of graphs that he put in here to kind of understand literally the natural cycle of the earth that we dwell on. So here you have kind of like an orb or compass that has the 4 directions on it, which 4 is always seen as the foundation of something. If you think of a foundation building a house, it's a square. It has 4 sides to it, 4 corners. So you have your north, south, your east, and your west. Your north, which is also considered like your true north. If you're into astrology, you understand that your north node is the path that you're on now in this lifetime. You're going north. Now, north is always considered the cold, the dark, the stillness, the winter, the leadership, well, this is what he puts in here. Sorry, I don't know what happened there. I got a notification about my phone battery dying, so I don't know if it skipped or not. So here, from what he describes, this is the point that you go through when you're traveling north in your life. But I'll talk a little bit more about that with the other charts here. So your east will be considered your springtime, beginnings, awakenings, enlightenment. The south is going to be, when you think of the south, think about like down south, the summer, the hot, the heat, and then even like the north if you live in the United States. It's cold up there. It's brick, as we used to say. It's brick up there. Your summer, your emotions, your vulnerability, playfulness, healing. West is autumn. We're getting ready to go into fall time now. So if you're in tune with nature, you might be getting in tune with that fall energy, which would be the mystery, your subconscious, your dreams, vision, soul, the self-discovery, introversion, introspection. But technically right now we're still at a time of summertime, the growth, the spontaneity, healing, the vitality, you know, of the sun. So the next one that I marked here, he breaks it down a little bit more on this one. Here you can see it's a little bit more detailed. So going back up to the north here. So this one, I thought it was another one. There's another one here somewhere. Let's go with this one. So the north here, where you can see, it says master. That's one of the books I have up here is Mastery. When you've reached your true north, you have mastered yourself. That's why this one is at the top. Okay. Right now, the summertime is was considered in this book the thespian era, or the time to explore. We're going into an autumn and fall time. That's going to be your wandering going up to an apprenticeship, which is interesting because what's his name? Robert Greene talks about apprenticeship as a part of mastery in his book. So those things kind of go together. So according to this chart, you start here. You start with your obedience training and entitlement training. This is your birth time, which starts over here in like the northeast, southeast. I'm not sure if this would be considered in this book here. And you go through a cycle. I'm not going to break it down too much, but you go through a cycle just like nature does, just like the moon does. It goes through cycles. So do you. So when you understand really how nature really works, you understand more about how you work. So if you're interested in that, nature and the human soul. This is one that I'm currently reading. This one is Putting the Power of Your Subconscious Mind to Work. And this is another Joseph Murphy. As you can see, he's a doctor. Okay, reach new levels of career success using the power of your subconscious mind. So this is where I'm at now in my life. I am at a point in my life where I am ready to master, or at least be on the road to mastering my career life. Mastering myself is still a road that I've been on for a while, actually, and I'll be touching more on that. But when it comes to my career life was always something that was very much important to me. And now that I understand that my life is based on my mind and what I feed it, that's why I love books that talk about mind and how to work your mind. Now, this one does do that, but it talks about a lot of other stuff too that's vital if you want to be successful, which all of it goes back to you ultimately. It does start with your mind, but there's other work that you have to put in as well. So right now, I'm on a segment that talks about ambition being essential, which is perfect because that's definitely where I'm at right now is getting ambitious. So right here, the chapter is becoming a more positive thinker. That's mind. Well, mind actually is above the brain. A lot of people think the brain is the mind. No, the brain operates because mind exists. Something has to act upon the brain in order for it to think and carry out action. So up here, getting aligned with the spirit, like I was talking about earlier, is what is going to go down and descend. Okay, it's going to come from here, it's going to go to here, it is going to form that body I was talking about. It's going to form that spirit, that matter, or I'm sorry, not that spirit, but that body, that matter, that actualization, that particularization. It starts up here, really, which means you hear people say get in alignment with spirit, which is part of your mind that acts upon you. Okay, excellent book for that. Now, here's one that I know a lot of y'all been waiting for, okay? The Holy Bible. Yes, I still read the Bible, okay? I'm not going to sit here and say that I have the Bible memorized, that I've read the whole thing, that I have it memorized, that I could just sit. There's a couple of scriptures that I can quote off the top of my head. But this is something that I'm still studying. Again, this is not so much a Christian or religious channel. But I think too, especially just growing up on it, and because Christianity is really what I consider the mainstream religion, it is very important to still understand it. The Bible, again, is when you read it with a different eye of understanding, it is more metaphysical and it is more about being connected to God in a way where you master yourself and are able to come back to God. Like Jesus said, him and the Father were one. The Father is that great spirit, mother and father spirit. Okay, it wasn't just masculine. And that's another thing too, that, you know, if you really study the history of it, the feminine was completely wiped out. Okay, so they made everything masculine. Oh, it was the Father, the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, but completely took out the mother. How did you get here with Father and Mother? But again, videos for other times, okay? I'm gonna get into it. So here, I'm not gonna go through each one. I'll just name the titles of some of the other ones that, actually 2 of them I haven't even started yet, but they are popular ones. You may have heard of them. So again, I already mentioned The Mastery by Robert Greene. I like Robert Greene. For me, he's a little bit harder to read. So when I feel like really gaining some really good intelligent insight and want to challenge myself, I like to go to Robert Greene. He has other books like The 48 Laws of Power, The Art of Seduction, The Art of War, and The Laws of Human Nature. And I thought there was another one I had by him, but I think those are, so I don't have The Laws of War, but the other ones I do have. Carolyn Miss, I have a few of her books. This one is The Anatomy of the Spirit. So if you're into especially learning about like chakras and the Kabbalah and the Sephiroth, she has a lot of information on that, of the anatomy of the spirit. And again, the Sephiroth are the little energy centers around what was called the tree of knowledge in the Bible. It's called the Kabbalah in Jewish mysticism. The Power of Now, The New Earth, A New Earth, Awaken Up to Your Life Purpose, and Power versus Force. This one, I read a couple of things in it. The subtitle is The Hidden Determinants of Human Behavior. So this one is more of a psychology book, but this one can also be read as a metaphysical book, because he even breaks down even the levels of energy that you have that shows where you're at energetically. So again, you have like the low, like when you hear people say you're in a low vibration, you're kind of vibing at a vibration that would be considered like you're more at the bottom, you're more at the ground, or you've fallen. And as you get up there, you are ascending. Your energy is ascending, just so is your consciousness. But he speaks of it more of a way like as a medical doctor and as a psychologist. Still a good one though. It talks about, of course, the difference between what power is and what force is. When you have power, you don't have to force anything. So that's also a metaphysical concept of getting in touch with your power, your natural power, your innate power. So pretty good one. I found this one at Goodwill for like $1 or $2. Okay, don't sleep on good. If you out there, you sleep on Goodwill, you trapping. Goodwill has some good stuff, especially if you're a book hog like me. For the low, Goodwill and thrift books. Okay, so that is pretty much it. Those are some of the books that I have read and reading or would like to read for my self-development. I definitely do recommend them. Thank you for listening. If you have any other book recommendations, feel free to comment on them. If you have any questions, feel free to comment. And y'all take care. Bye.